Make sure we get everybody. All right, so my name is Zane, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the pluses and the minuses of buying hunting permits, and why, even if you're not a hunter or you just maybe enjoy camping or being outdoors, why it's imperative for you guys to buy hunting permits as well. So personally, I buy hunting permits every year. I like to hunt. I like to be outdoors. And I feel like the contributions that I make a big difference in outdoors and in the environment. The Guardian magazine said that humans have destroyed 1/10 of all the remaining land, and it just been in the past 25 years. So in the past 25 years, we've lost a whole tenth of all the remaining wilderness left. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about the biggest issue, which is the land and the animals that are being killed and destroyed, the reasons why you guys should buy hunting permits, how to buy them, and some of the things that, if you do buy them, some of the things that it'll contribute, and if you don't, what might happen over time. So first we're going to talk about the main problem, and that would be all the land and the animals that are being either taken advantage of or destroyed due to things like deforestation or things like that. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the loss of open space. So open space is defined as undeveloped or untouched land. So it's anywhere that hasn't been turned into a parking lot or things like that. The U.S. Forest Service stated that each day 6,000 acres of open space are converted to other uses. They also said that up to 69 million acres are projected to be turned into urban areas by the end of 2060. So that's just one of the biggest issues with some of the land that we have, some of the public lands, a lot of even private lands that animals call home, that for the public lands that we can go and enjoy, that over time are going to be destroyed. So too much of the forest loss causes the loss of animals, obviously. So of all these 69 million acres that are projected to be lost, a lot of them are places that deer, in some states elk, things like that, call home. And when we go in and destroy these whole places, then they have no place to go. And a lot of times that ends up with animals being hit by cars and things like that. So the first thing for that issue is that just like we were talking about, animals may face dangerous situations. So if they get into construction areas, things like that, they face things like fires and buildings that they aren't comfortable with. And a lot of times in these really urban areas where they're constantly building, constantly bringing new things up, then it usually causes a lot more car accidents due to hitting deer. And then also they're just losing habitat. They don't have places to go. So they end up in the middle of cities. They end up losing food. A lot of the habitat that they live is a constant cycle. So, if you destroy a tree, then you destroy a certain animal, and then it destroys another animal, because the way the food chain goes, that animal can't eat this animal, and so on and so forth. So those are really the biggest issues with some of the losing of land and things like that. Also, it's going to take away from our public lands and a lot of the wild animals that we like to see. If you sit outside at any length of time, you can see birds and deer and all kinds of other things. And by getting rid of a lot of these, you're not going to be able to see any of that anymore. A lot of public parks, national parks, state parks, things that people go and enjoy every day would be closed due to this. And then if you're like me and you like to hunt and fish and be outside, then those privileges are also going to be taken away due to the fact that we won't have the amount of things to use. So that's pretty much that's the biggest problem, is just the loss of land and the loss of animals, and some of the things that animals and us as humans would face if we got to the worst of the worst. So next we're going to talk about how you can change it. So first, buying hunting licenses. Whether you're a hunter or not, hunting licenses is one of the number one contributors to our environment for funding wise. So buying hunting license funds many conservation and preservation programs. OurBeautifulPlanet.org made a claim in a recent article that the Pittman-Robertson Act of 1937, which is actually the act that started to make hunting licenses a thing, where people had to start purchasing licenses instead of just going out and killing all the buffalo they wanted. Our Beautiful Planet stated that $700 million a year are made that go directly to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So, that's all straight from hunting licenses. And that goes to protecting land and animals, fish, all those sorts of things. And anyone can do this. You don't have to be anybody specific. There's hundreds of different licenses you can buy from. If you go to your local outdoor store or Walmart even, you can buy from all kinds of different licenses. And all it really takes is a federal ID. And pretty much any Midwestern state, you can get a hunting license, 1, 15, however many you want, for a pretty low price of the state that you're resident in. And all it takes is a social security number or federal ID. So one of the main success stories for this program would be the U.S. A lot of other countries don't have conservation programs necessarily. A lot of people don't have to pay for hunting licenses like Australia. You can go and hunt and kill everything you want and no one says a thing. But the wild turkey in the U.S. is one of the biggest success stories for conservation. In the 1930s, the wild turkey was at extreme risk for extinction. They actually don't even have a number to show how low the population got. They were pretty much not even a thing in the 1930s. And then in just 20 years, USA Today stated in 20 years after the Pittman-Robertson Act was enacted that there were 320,000 wild turkeys, approximately around the 1950s in the U.S., and now that number is up to 6 million. And that is completely due to the fact of people going out and buying hunting licenses and the prices that we pay for these licenses every day. And a lot of people, obviously, PETA, things like that, say that hunting is killing all the animals and we're the ones destroying the land. And as we've talked about, hunters are actually the #1 contributor to land and conservation. The Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation also said that there's approximately $1.6 billion a year raised just by hunters, whether that be park access. Some states, they have public land access that you have to pay to get on public lands, things like that, not just hunting licenses as well. And then another example is things like the duck stamp is the #1 supporter for wetlands across the U.S. National and state, that's one of the biggest threats to land is wetlands are actually going away. You have to go states to find actual conserved wetlands. So those are some of the things that are some of the reasons you should buy hunting permits and look into to thinking about getting one for this year. And so lastly, I'm just going to tell you guys, some of the positives and the consequences of, if you do or you don't. The first thing would be if you go and buy a hunting license, hopefully if we stay on the trend that we are now, my kids, grandkids, things like that will be able to enjoy the same things I have and the same things you guys have. We'll be able to go and, take them out to places like Mingo and places, these national parks that we can enjoy and take them hunting and fishing. And, just in general, the animals on the land that we enjoy are still going to be around for years to come. If we don't if we don't start buying these permits and start trying to support our outdoors, a lot of these parks will be shut down. Animals are really will be faced for extinction. A lot of the animals that are on that brink are really based off of if they're going to live or die, and the breed will go extinct on whether you pay the hunting permit price or not, because that's where they get their funding. So, in conclusion, buying hunting licenses does more than a lot of people think. It doesn't just give somebody a right to go out and hunt. It gives you the right to enjoy the land, enjoy the animals, enjoy the outdoors. So that is the land and animals that are being destroyed. Some of the things that buying hunting licenses can do to save our wilderness, and the reasons that we should buy our hunting licenses to keep our generations being able to enjoy the outdoors. So I urge you guys to go and try to buy your hunting licenses this year. Ask friends, ask your husbands, whoever, to take you to. You can go to Walmart, Academy, things like that. Any local outdoor store usually has them, and you can buy whatever hunting license you want, whether that be an animal you like or whatever, just something to support the animals that we have. So if you're like me and you love the outdoors and hunting and fishing, or you just like to camp and do that kind of thing, I urge you to go and buy your hunting license, because our wild animals and our wild places depend on you guys. So thank you.